Now, this is something that we haven't spoken about today. The impact that you have as a leader and a coach, ultimately what you're looking for with your players, if you don't think about it this way, you might describe it as something else, but ultimately what you're looking to create are what we call engaged athletes. What do you think we mean by an engaged athlete? Okay, they're on the same page. What else?
Switched on, got the purpose at hand, deep in their thoughts.
Yeah, so this thing about engagement, so if you work for a big corporate organisation, they take the time these days to measure what we call engagement. They call it employee engagement. We can call it athlete engagement. But basically it's the degree to which a person's hearts and minds are captured in three things. What are those three things? Okay, so one is, okay, the role they're doing. Two is, not the reward. Not so much the result. So it's the role, the organisation they represent, and their leader. Okay, so what happens is that when someone's hearts and minds, what we mean by that is they are emotionally and intellectually motivated, enthusiastic about what it is that they're doing and the contribution that they're making, and they enjoy their job, that is the technical aspect of their job. They feel good about the organisation or team that they're part of because of the way that they're treated, and ultimately they want to do what you're asking them to do because of who? I mean, honestly, who's ever played for a coach that you wanted to play for? That you really wanted to play for, and you would do things for that coach that... Okay, I had a coach who never wanted me to do anything for him. But that's what made him such a great coach. He was the type of coach that said, look, very clear on, you're not going out there to win me a gold medal. You're not going out there to bring me home a gold medal. You're going out there to do it for yourself and your team members, your family, whatever else comes after that. Okay, so why is this so important? Why is this so important? Engaged athletes deliver what we know to be an additional, or engaged people deliver an additional 30% in what we call discretionary effort, which is what? What is discretionary effort? Well, yeah, it's effort that they choose to do. Yeah, they opt in. Okay, now, anecdotally, you guys would probably call this morale or team spirit or whatever else you may call it. But you will have athletes on your team that potentially will do what?
Switch off or go the other way and put in the extra.
Yeah, absolutely. Will they put in that little bit extra? And this is not always expressed in the quantity of the work that they're doing. It's also expressed in the quality of their work. What else are they doing to improve their performance? Maybe they spend a bit more time stretching. Maybe they help someone else. What are some other behaviours of engaged athletes? What else do they do? And also, to the point, what else don't they do? That can be an even bigger one. What do you think? Do a bit of extra. They don't whinge, they don't complain, they don't carry on, they just go and do it. Lead by example. They're basically your role model citizens. They're the ones that are making every effort to support the team's efforts and to create a great experience for everyone else around them. So, what difference would it make if your whole team was giving an extra 30% in this discretionary effort? It's massive. It's massive. In organisations, why do organisations measure this? Why do they want to create engaged employees? Makes a heap more money. Well, that's significant. Now the thing is, in an organisation, if you are what they call an employer of choice, it changes each year, but the rough numbers are between, if you've got 65 and 70% of your organisation which is actively engaged, you become an employer of choice. What do you think about those percentages? That's what we're suggesting, is that 65 to 70% of your team are engaged in what they're doing. How do you think that applies to sport? What would happen if only 65% or 70% of your team? Oh, it's a disaster. But coming back to this, I mean, we would be aiming for what sort of percentage? We actually want them all, actually. I mean, in sport, the percentages are not like they are in business. And so we're actually looking for that 100% engagement level. Absolutely it does. So we can't really afford to have that. So in many ways, you know, your role is very different to the manager in an organisation where if it's okay for people to turn up and be at 80% or 90% today or even 70%, you know, if you've got players on your team with that attitude, then it's just not going to work very well, is it? Okay. So what's this all about? What's the key thing about this engagement thing? What's the biggest driver of engagement? Is it that they love their job? And that would mean that they love playing their role on the team and they love playing their sport? That's got to be, that's a significant driver. Is it because they represent this team? Well, that's part of it. Or is it because the impact of you in there as their coach and leader? So every statistic, every study has found that the most significant driver of creating this is how you behave and how you interact with your players. Which is good news, isn't it? You know, that is good news. And it's all about how you communicate to them and how you go about developing and managing that relationship.